my dad's pictures look normal, my brother's pictures look normal, the ones where they were both together look normal, and then you look at my pictures. Fly with the stars, sound free. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Loonie, and you may be asking, why the fuck is your face halfway done? Now, I was actually doing a video, but I decided that I didn't like the topic, so I wanted to change it up, but I did like half of my face, so it is what it is. But yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna be doing a just like me doing my makeup video, and then I'm gonna be talking about like ghost stories and all that, and like my weird dreams, just kind of going off topic, doing my thing, you know. So if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Loonie. This series, Looniees Vanity, is actually me just doing makeup, having fun, being free, letting loose, and just talking about shit. This place is a safe space for those of you who don't feel like they're themselves at the moment, who just feel like, you know, people don't want to listen to them, or they feel lonely. You know, that's me. I'm here to talk to you. So yeah, so don't feel afraid. I won't judge you. Feel free to comment. I'm here. Okay, you can put me on, have me as background noise, watch me while you're doing your homework, watch me while you're getting ready. I don't give a shit, okay? I'm here and I'm here for you, okay? So yeah, let's get started. So today I'm gonna be talking about what am I gonna be talking about? I really don't know, because I was gonna be talking about like my weird alien dream that I had like a few days ago, but like literally I kind of grew out of it. So now I'm just like, what do I even talk about? You know, I'm gonna be drawing little ghosts on my face. I have little ghost earrings. Ooh, what if they look like little cum baby? I shouldn't be saying that. Okay, that's one little ghost. That does not look like a ghost. Okay. 3 legs. Whatever. Let's just make it straight and not complicate things, so it doesn't look like a thingy. I'm playing. Okay, so anyways, back on the topic. I don't know what I was going to talk about. You know, it is spooky season, but it's like I'm feeling it, but I'm not feeling it. And let me tell you guys, I started watching like most of the cult classics of like Halloween movies and like your must-have Halloween movies, and the one that disappointed me the most, to be honest, all slander but no slander, The Corpse Bride. Literally, I was not here for the emotional whirlwind that was being conflicted on liking I already forgot her name, The Corpse Bride and Victor, but then also being on the side of the girl who was gonna get married to Victor, because I was just like, dude, like the poor Corpse Bride, you know, like he kind of, you know, proposed to her, but he didn't propose to her. And at first I fucking hated her, because like, dude, like, are you dumb or are you dumb? He literally did not propose to you. He proposed to my other homegirl, the homegirl that was like, you know, getting married to him for money, which wasn't Victor broke. So, you know, I like kind of hated The Corpse Bride. I was like, dude, like, excuse me, he's supposed to be getting married to someone. But then when they got to like the little like place with the guy with the spiderweb goatee, I was just like, dude, why didn't you tell her you were trying to get engaged to someone else? Why did you lie to her to go to the human world? Because he told her that he was gonna like, you know, introduce her to his parents, when in reality he was trying to ditch her to go get that pussy. So I was just like, excuse me, like, Victor, I was rooting for you. Why are you playing with this girl's feelings? Like, we are not here to play with people's feelings. So yeah, so I like ended up like, you know, warming up to The Corpse Bride because of Victor's bitch ass fault. And then you know, it turns out that he like started feeling guilty, which I was like, it's more like not him feeling guilty, it's more like him getting like Stockholm syndrome, like him getting Stockholm syndrome, and like kind of being like, yeah, I'll marry her. But it's like, my dude, you're fucking alive. Like, you haven't lived your life. And I get she died because someone fucking murked her ass, but like, my dude. And same thing with her. It's like, dude, let him live his life, because you already lived yours. You know, like, your timeline stopped right there. But at the same time, just because Victor got engaged to you, are you really gonna take his life? Hey, you know, everything seemed good with her, like having him die for her, but it's just like, my G, don't die. No, don't make someone die for you, like, honey. But then at the same time, you know, this other girl had already gotten married, and I was like, I hate her fucking parents, like dead ass. I hated her parents, which they did make them into really unlikable characters. And that's like the only thing that I actually like. That it's like, okay, at least I can hate the parents and not have to feel guilty about hating the parents. But everything else was just like, dude, like why the fuck did Victor play with both of them? Okay, because you know damn well that she wanted to get married, and then she ended up like letting him get married, and it's like, dude, I get it, that's your piece or whatever, but let homegirl have her own happy ending, you know? So yeah, that was me and my review on that scary movie. If you get offended, do not comment on that, please. I'm not here to fight with Tim Burton fans, deadass. Okay, that's one ghost. He looks kind of angry. Look at this. Boop. Looks like that one happy. I hate this fucking eyeliner because it's starting to fall apart. And I can't do anything about it. Oh, that looks bad. And it's like, I can't see that well. He looks scared. One eye. Oh, he looks happy. Two eyes. Oh, the eyes look so dumb. It's fine. It's fine. No one's gonna pay attention to that. So yeah, that was me with that review of that movie. So this story time has to do with like one of the stories that my followers did comment, and it was basically about how they've had sleep paralysis, right? And if you've had sleep paralysis before, when you have sleep paralysis, it kind of traumatizes you a little bit. So they were telling me that they had a dream of sleep paralysis where one side, I don't know if it was the right or the left, one side was heaven and like, you know, it was like really beautiful, really peaceful and all that, but then when they looked at the other side, it was hell, and they could hear like the screaming and all that, and I was just like, damn, dude. And it reminded me of my dream that I had earlier this week. It was actually about an alien invasion. Okay, so let me get started on that dream. So basically, my brother and I were at a wedding reception, and I remember being hella pissed off because everyone looked really nice, and then I showed up and I was in like a band t-shirt and jeans. So I was like mad. I was like, hey, why didn't you tell me like this was gonna be a wedding? Like I came looking all dumb and like everyone else looks so nice. Like, dude, you know, you should have told me and I would have read the room and I would have come looking nice. So, you know, I was just kind of mad, and the wedding hadn't started. And that's when we bumped into the guy that we knew, my brother and I knew, which was the nephew of the guy that was getting married. So, you know, we're catching up with him, and, you know, he's just telling us, like, oh, like, I hope you guys like it here. You know, the wedding, you know, it took a long time to prepare, but, you know, I'm glad that you guys were able to make it. And that's when the ceremony starts, and all of a sudden, we're sitting down. So we're sitting down, and I don't remember what the bride looked like, but I remember just making eye contact with that guy so many times, and it's because he had an eerie look on his face throughout the ceremony. And the ceremony wasn't that freaking long because it was a dream, obviously. So I remember after they get married and everything, we're all kind of just pondering around the the church, and he's just there, and he walks up to us. And he's like, oh, like, I hope you guys are able to go to the reception, you know, like, it's gonna be pretty fun. And, you know, my brother, like, walks, so he's like, oh, like, that's nice. And, like, he goes to, like, his friends or whatever. And I'm there by myself, and he starts talking to me, the nephew or whatever. And I'm like, oh, like, it's nice catching up with you and all that. And he just, like, interrupts me. He starts talking about cars and how he really likes cars. And he's, like, telling me about, like, the ins and out of them. And I was like, so I'm just like standing there letting him talk, and then all of a sudden it's time for us to go. So he's like, oh, like it's time to go to the, like, you know, the actual like reception. I'll see you there. And he's like, you could just follow our cars. And in that moment, the nephew starts walking away. His uncle walks up to me, and that's when my brother comes back up into like the whole like dream. And he starts talking to both of us, and he's like, it means a lot that you guys are here. And he tells us the same thing, follow all the cars and we'll meet up at the reception. So we follow the cars, and all of a sudden we're at the reception, obviously, because in a dream you just like fast forward to shit, and like literally like you can be in like one building, Like, you could be in your room, but then all of a sudden your room turns into Target in like a dream. So fucking weird, but it fascinates me, you know? So all of a sudden we're like in this park, not a park, but we were in like a parking lot with everyone there. And like, obviously when you go to like a wedding, you know how there's just random people standing outside? That's how it was, except they were all walking like in a certain direction. And so we bump into the uncle and the nephew again, and we're like, hey, like you know, we made it and all that. And they were just like kind of talking to us, and I literally can't remember what the guy was telling us, but I just remember like looking off into the distance. I was like, damn, this looks like a forest, like that's low-key kind of scary. And he like disappears, and I turn back to my brother. I'm like, where did they go? And he's like, oh, like they already went into the venue or whatever. So I was like, cool. And I started looking around. I'm like, so where is it at? And dead ass, we're just in like a parking lot by ourselves. Like, no one's there no more. It's just me and my brother in this parking lot. And I'm like, where'd they go? So we're looking around, like we're just like standing there, like staring off into the distance, confused. And then I like spot the cars. I'm like, damn, like this family's loaded. And he's like, why? And I'm like, dude, like they all like decided to rent out the same car. And it wasn't even a car, it was a truck. Like, it was the same truck in the color white, just like one after one after one after one, you know, in this parking lot. Like, they were all like parked the same way, same direction, like same model, same everything. And then after those was a bunch of like military tanks, and I was like, ha, nice, like where the fuck are we? And so in this moment, it's suddenly like sunset, like the sun's going down, and these dudes in hazmat suits start coming out, and the tanks are moving, like they're pulling out of the parking lot. And I'm like, what's going on here? So we decide to ask the guy in the hazmat suit, and he's like, you guys have to leave. And you know, we're kind of just standing there confused, and all of a sudden this parking lot turned into a park, like a full-on park. And so I'm like, this is not good. So what ends up happening is that the guy in the hazmat suit starts, you know, yelling out through these speakers. He's like, you guys have to evacuate, you guys have to leave now. And he did not sound nice, he sounded mean. So you know, he starts telling us that we have to leave, and my brother and I are just standing there in shock, because remember, we're supposed to be at a wedding. So freaking we look at each other and we're like, this is not good. And of course it wasn't good, because, you know, we were getting yelled at that we had to leave. So then this parking lot turns into a whole fucking park, and people are running from the like park area, and it still had like a bunch of trees and all that, but it was now a park. And they start running from the park area to the parking lot, but now they're running in front of these tanks, and these tanks aren't stopping for the people running, they're just running them over. And it's not just like one person, it's a lot of people running. And so my brother and I just look at each other as these people get hit, and we're just shocked. And when I tell you, the crunch sounded so real, like I was like, I could feel my heart beating, so I was like, that just happened, like, oh my god. We turn back to the guy in the hazmat suit, and he does not look happy, he just looks full on mad, and he's like, run. And so we start running, and luckily there's no more tanks in sight, but he's right behind us, the guy in the hazmat suit, like he's walking toward us, but menacingly. So I'm just like, oh my god, like what the fuck is actually happening here? So then we start running, and he's right behind us. My brother's like, this is not good. And so we run to his car, but it turns out his car is not his car, it's like a beat up truck. And I'm like, what the actual heck? Because I was rooting that it was my brother's car, because, you know, it's a sports car, so my brother has a sports car, so obviously we're gonna be fast, we're gonna get out like nothing. But it's not a sports car, it's a beat up truck. So I'm like, oh fuck, we're dead. So I'm like, what do we do now? So he starts the car, and I remember when we were running toward the car, I start heaving. I could feel myself heaving as we run to the car. And then we fucking make it to the car. Where is that glitter eyeliner? Oh, here it is. I have glitter eyeliner for my eyeballs. So we make it into the car, and he starts it, and he's like, dude, this is not good, like something's really wrong here. And I'm like, no shit, dude. And we make it into the car, and he starts it, and the guy in the hazmat suit is following us, and, you know, he pulls out of the parking spot, And he starts driving and he's like, dude, they're gonna get us. And I'm like, yes, they're gonna get us. Like, I agree too. Like, that's one thing we're gonna agree on. It's that they're gonna get us. And I'm like, you know, step on it, dude. He steps on it. We start driving out of this parking lot. And then, you won't believe what started happening. Our truck started floating. Like, but then again, this is a dream. Anything can happen. But usually this is like the point in my dreams where I realize that I'm dreaming and I take control and I'm like, haha, bitch. And I like, you know, change, like turn the tables on whatever it is, you know? But unfortunately, I did not know that it was a dream. So I start, you know, like freaking out. And I'm like, dude, what are we gonna do? Like, we're fucked, you know? Like, what do we even do? Who do we go to? Because obviously the cops aren't gonna be able to stop this. And all of a sudden, our truck starts floating. Yes, you heard that right. Our truck started floating in my dream. But it's a dream, so anything can happen, right? Alright, so our truck starts floating, and basically what's going on is that we are now panicking. So as we panic, I remember that there's this like verse that you're supposed to say when like paranormal stuff starts happening or whatever. And it's because I'm Catholic, so you know, we were taught this type of stuff. And I believe it was like, it's sort of like the power of Christ compels you, where you're supposed to say something else, but in Spanish. And I literally just blanked out right now, so I forgot what I'm supposed to be saying. But yeah, so it's like the power of Christ. It was like the power of Christ compels you, something. And I was trying to say it, and I remember I just couldn't. And I'll have you know, my mom, is a Hispanic mom, so she made sure that I knew that, okay? Like, she made sure that I knew how to pray, and I knew my prayers well. And obviously, if you're in like some sort of paranormal situation, you're gonna want to like at least know how to pray. I did not remember how to freaking pray, and I know how to pray. So then, you know, I'm like freaking out, and he's like driving, our car is like floating. And I think I like scram out in my dream. Like, I remember this very vividly because I kind of started laughing as we're getting chased. It's like, holy shit, this is some ET type of shit up in this bitch. And you know, we're still floating. And I'm trying to rack my brain, and I remember that like verse or whatever. So I'm like trying to say it, and I am not able to say that verse. So I'm like, something's very wrong here. Like, I can't pray. He's like, what do you mean you can't pray? And I'm like, I can't pray. Like, I'm unable to pray. So I'm trying to pray, and you know, we're getting followed. They're getting closer to us, and I start feeling like a weight on my chest, like if something's trying to pull something out of me. And I'm like, ooh. So I try even harder. My jaw just feels like it's locked in, and I cannot freaking like open it. If I can talk in like sentences. Okay, my mom's using the food processor, so it's a little loud. Can't do anything about that, so the show must go on. I paid $5. Did it break? No way. Oh hell no, my eyelash glue better not have dried. I need freaking eyelashes for this video. Anyways, so I can't pray, and then I slowly start trying again to pray, and I'm like trying to say it, and I remember I'm saying it like really low, and I'm like super low because my jaw was like locked. And then suddenly I start, oh, there you go. I think I might have broken it, to be honest. Oh well, it is what it is. So I'm gonna need a mirror for this. Where are my eyelashes? Oh, I need some mascara. Who am I not putting on mascara? I'm able to pray. And it's crazy because I was still hearing the screams in this part of the dream. Like, you know how I told you that there's like people screaming and they're getting crushed by like the military trucks? Yeah, which is what I was talking about. Like, that's what I was trying to that's what I was trying to like correlate my followers' story with, about them seeing like heaven and hell in their sleep paralysis. Because I was just like, holy shit, like these screams sound demonic. Like, they did not sound nice. They sounded like people full on suffering. I dropped mascara on my cheek right now, so I don't know how I'm gonna fix that. It looks kind of pretty. Alright, anyways, I'm continuing dream. So we finally land the truck because of these prayers, and I remember just sitting there looking at my brother, and I'm like, what just happened? And he looks at me, he's like, I don't know. And all of a sudden we like just look out the window, and we're sitting at a park, and there's like kids playing. I'm like, what the fuck? And like I remember everything just seemed so normal, and I was just like, what happened here? Like, why is everything so peaceful? What did we just experience? And nothing was behind us, nothing was following us anymore. It was just a sudden peace. And I was just like, huh? And I'm like, now that I summarize it, now that I like look back, two things could have happened. We could have gotten abducted, and we just thought we made it out. Another thing could have been that we died and we made it to heaven, and I was praying hard enough, so we made it there. Or we actually made it there, or we actually, like, made it out alive, and that was the end of it. But I literally don't know. Oh no, I got lash glue on the lashes. No. We're supposed to wait for it to get taggy. But I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna put it on. Once again, my hands are not dirty. They just look dirty. Ooh, I kind of got some on my lash line. I mean, on my eyelid. Not my lash line. It's fine. I'm a beginner for eyelashes, so it is what. Oh shit! It's standing. Sit your ass back down. Yes, I know people do it with tweezers, but I feel like I just can never set them down with tweezers, so we're going with fingers. Oh, that looks cute. Kind of. But yeah, that was the end of that dream. And then I ended up like talking with someone else about their like experience with like paranormal experience. His name is Nestor, and he has a podcast. It's Brown Popcorn. Check it out. It's pretty good. And he was telling me about how he actually had an actual paranormal experience. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys. So he said this happened when he was like younger, and he was telling me that when he was young he would like stay up late and play video games. My brother did that when he was younger. He kind of still does it, but not really anymore. So he works, but he's got a job and he's got bills to pay. I'm playing. But yeah, so he said he would stay up late at night playing video games, and his dad would have this like routine of like kind of like standing out when he was making too much noise in like the kitchen or whatever, and like he would just stare at him until he would like, you know, shut up and like go back to his room or whatever. So he was telling me that one day he was like playing video games. It was late at night, and he decided to go into the kitchen, and he thought he was being loud. And he remembers looking at like, I think it's his parents' room, and his dad was there, like just standing there staring at him. So he was like, okay, like I'll go in, like you could go back inside your room, like I'm gonna be quiet. He told him that, right? His dad didn't go inside, and he was just still staring at him. So now Nestor's telling me that he got like frustrated with his dad, and he's like, dude, like I'm going in already, like you can go back into your room. And he was getting more frustrated, which obviously, you know, we have those moments where we get frustrated, especially at night. So he started getting frustrated with his dad, and he started getting a little louder. He's like, hey, like you can go in and go to sleep, like, you know, don't worry about it, you know? And his dad just stood there. So then Nestor ends up like going back into his room or whatever, and he just like kept it as is. But he did seem like he did think about how it was a little weird or whatever. He just never like thought about it, right? So then later on, I guess he had like moved out at this point. His mom told him about what happened that night. So let me tell you what happened that night, from what he told me that happened that night. So Nestor told me that his mom, you know, was like, hey, you remember that night when you were yelling at your dad? And he's like, yeah. So apparently that was not Nestor's dad. So Nestor saw someone in the dark that was not his dad. He thought it was his dad, and so he was like yelling at a stranger. And his mom told him that his dad was actually in bed next to her when Nestor started yelling. And she said that both of them heard him, you know, yelling. They just didn't go out to scare, like they didn't, like he didn't step out, his dad didn't step out, because they knew that like scared him or like freak him out. Which honestly, they did a good job, because I would be scared and freaked out, and then I just wouldn't want to live there anymore. Be like, you know what? You know what? We need to burn the house down. We need to move, okay? And so, you know, I think he said that his dad like went outside to check if anyone had come in, but there were like no signs of an intruder. So it's just like he was speaking to someone that wasn't his dad. Which honestly, here's my little advice that I learned from watching, you know, like paranormal videos and like murder mysteries. If you see a shadow, do not interact. Turn on the lights and be like, who the fuck are you? Like, fight me, bitch. I'm playing. One of the biggest mistakes you could do is talk to a shadow, a random shadow. And I remember I had this little middle school teacher who would like tell us ghost stories instead of like actually teaching us, which she's a G for that, but honestly I did come out kind of dumb, so she's kind of not the G for that. I'm playing. But she was telling us how there was a story of this teacher who taught at this school, and there was a little boy who died there when they were constructing the school. Sorry, Nestor, I'll go back to your story. I promise I'll remember. So she was telling us that the teacher ended up talking to the little boy, and the little boy followed her home because she had been like, hi, hello, who is this? And then the little boy's like, hi, I'm lost. And she's like, really, you're lost? And so she like led him down these stairs or whatever, because they were like on the second floor of the school or whatever. And it turns out the little boy like had died from the stairs or something like that. I don't remember it super well. But then when she turned around to like, you know, tell the office ladies that the boy was with her, there was no one there. And then when the teacher was driving home, guess who was in her back seat without a booster seat? Not playing. It was a kid behind her, and I was like, oh my god. And ever since then, you know, like she told us, she's like, if you see a ghost or if you hear someone calling out your name, you do not reply, even if it sounds like, you know, your parents. You go to them and you're like, hey, like, what's up? You know, like, you're like, what do you want? Like, you know, you don't just say, like what? Like, you don't reply just like that, because apparently, like, you can attract scary stuff, and I'm starting to get scared myself. But yeah, so Nestor, what do we learn? We don't talk to ghosts. I'm playing. With all respect, Nestor, we don't talk to ghosts, okay? We don't respond to people just saying our name, okay? Yeah. And honestly, that teacher taught me so much about that. I think she is the reason why I got into like looking at paranormal videos and like murder mysteries, because of her. God, I'm getting past the 30-minute mark. I don't know if I should go past the 30-minute mark. Whatever. I'll go past the. Okay, but yeah, that was that story. Definitely Nestor's kind of freaked me out because my cousin had a similar story like that. I have my own share of like paranormal stories, but they weren't that bad. The only one that was like ever like as bad, I don't have proof to show you because my mom gave away my proof, which I don't blame her. My aunt asked for it, but let me go ahead and get into that. So this is actually gonna be on my haunted pictures. So one Christmas, I don't know if it was Christmas or no, it was New Year's, because Christmas I would have like gifts and shit. So one year for New Year's, we went with my aunt to her house, which was in like Palmdale. We all drove to like her house, we went to celebrate, and it was like everyone in my dad's family. Like I have pictures where we're all together, and I'll definitely post it right here. But we were all together and we were celebrating New Year's. What ended up happening was that, you know, we celebrate New Year's and all that, and in front of my aunt's house, there was this really big, massive Christmas tree, and a high school right in front. So the Christmas tree belonged to the high school, and it was really beautiful, it was really nicely decorated, and my mom had those little Kodak cameras, you know, the ones that would go zzz, zzz, those, she had the little zzz, zzz cameras, you know, so she would take pictures of us, and she would get them developed. So she sees this Christmas tree, we're already going home, and it's just like us outside. So she's like, dude, like, let's take some pictures before we go. So I'm the first one to pose in front of the tree. It was kind of cold, but it wasn't cold to the point where it was like snowing or anything. It was just chilly, you know, it was just icy outside. So I stand in front of the tree by myself. My brother wasn't standing with me in these pictures, and she takes pictures of me next to this Christmas tree. Then she goes on to take pictures of my brother and my dad, but I believe they were inside of my dad's truck. And then after that, my mom, like, she's like, okay, let's get ready, let's go home. We all get into the car, we go home, she gets them developed, and that's when we see what happened. So she gets them developed, and my dad's pictures look normal, my brother's pictures look normal, the ones where they were both together look normal, and then you look at my pictures. Now, for my dad and my brother's pictures, they were clear, like the sky above the car, clear. There was like no like fog, nothing like that in the pictures. But then when you looked at my pictures, where I'm standing there, my little like 5-6-year-old self just standing there by myself, there was fog right behind me, in front of me. I'm starting to stutter because I'm low-key getting a little freaked out, but like above my head there's like fog. And my mom starts looking closer to the fog, and she's like, that's weird. And I remember seeing these pictures and having these pictures in my hands, and she shows my dad, she's like, you have to see this. So we're all looking at these pictures because my mom wasn't just like a one picture type of person. She's like, we gotta get them angles, okay? So she starts showing my dad these pictures, and we all knew something was wrong because the fog was over my head. But then when you look closer at the fog, I shit you not, there were faces in the fog. And for me, one of the faces that actually like stuck with me was the face of a monkey. And I guess it's because it stuck with me the most because I was a little girl, so you know, you have empathy, like especially as a kid, you especially have a soft spot for animals, which I have a soft spot for animals. And I remember just being so creeped out because there was like faces of like people in the fog. There was girls, like I remember seeing a girl in there, I saw a guy's face in there, and it was just like all of them were like all around me, and it was just faces. That's all I remember, faces around me. And it wasn't like we took any other pictures with that camera because they were all pictures of that night, but either way we would have had pictures of our family members, but you know, like we would have recognized their faces. And where the fuck did we get the picture from? Like where did we get the monkey face? Where did we get it from? So my mom goes ahead and she like shares this with like the rest of the family because I guess we got together again, and she showed my aunt, the one who hosted the party. So she's like, hey, like look at this, like these are faces, tell me these aren't faces. And so she starts looking at them and she's like, oh my god, like I like, you know, she ended up asking my mom for these pictures. Apparently she was either gonna take them to the school or she was gonna take them to get blessed. So she did a little bit of digging around and a little bit of investigating. It turns out that these were actual dead people. Like these were like people that had died at the school, and the most recent one had been, I think it was like a pregnant girl or something like that, who died in front of the school. And apparently under the Christmas tree and like on that like floor, there was like crosses and stuff because people had died there. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think my cousin had messed around that day and she had said something about like the school was a cemetery before, which, and now it gives me the creepy crawlies because like, dude, like tengo miedo. But yeah, I was just like, holy motherfucking, was that actually something that happened, or was that like a fever dream? And my aunt has the pictures, for sure she has the fucking pictures. I just don't know if she kept them or if she threw them away, or if someone else has them. That'd be really weird if someone else had my pictures. But yeah, like I remember those pictures so freaking vividly, and I want to ask her, but I don't know how to bring it up. Like, hey, can I have my fucking pictures back? No, obviously I can't be like that, but yeah. Anyways, I did go past the 30-minute mark. I do have a few more stories from people that sent me stories. If I didn't share your story, I honestly truly feel bad that I did not share it here. But honestly, my editing skills are a little rusty, so I can't edit more than like an hour because I'm like that rusty. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna cut it short today, but I promise you I'll come back with more stories. And I'll see you guys next time. This has been Looniees Vanity. I hope you guys enjoyed it very much. This is a safe spot. I hope you guys felt good. Leave a like, subscribe. Promise I'm not going anywhere. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.